No corporate is paying you for the good times. They are paying you for your capability, for your expertise, for your commitment, for your loyalty, for your passion, for your tenacity, for your capability to anticipate in bad times. Before I really talk about reflecting on a crisis, the first thing is that crisis doesn't come with a calling card. I think it is impossible for you to time a crisis and to say that yeah, this is a crisis coming on. It starts small. Sometimes it starts nondescript, and it builds itself into a huge catastrophe. It is something that is true of most crises. It doesn't come with a calling card. There are no magic bullets. There are no answers. There are no business contingency plans, as they say in the corporate world, that can deal with all of these situations. I have been a corporate leader for the better part of my life, but I can tell you one thing, hand on heart, that in a crisis, you do not run a company, but you serve a family. So, what are a few things that I believe are important when you are leading a crisis, when you are in the midst of a crisis? The first and most important I have noticed in my own career is managing yourself. If you're able to manage yourself, you're capable of managing an adversity far better. If you cannot manage yourself, you are not able to manage a crisis. Your people are looking at you. You may be a leader of an organization of 5 people or 500,000 people, but your people are looking up to you. They are saying, my God, this is a completely incomprehensible pandemic in my life. I don't know whether I'll live. I don't know whether I'll have my job. I don't know whether I'm going to survive 5 years. I don't know what my savings is going to be. I don't know whether my family and friends are going to be safe. Whom do I look to? They look to you. And that is why it is very important that you, as a leader, stand strong. You may be quaking in your boots because you don't have the answers. Still stand strong. If not for yourself, for the people around you, because the day you start quaking, the day your behavior becomes erratic, the day anger precedes sobriety, the day reason is quashed by accidents, is the time when you fail as a leader. The next, managing your people. And how do you manage your people? You don't have the answers. You only have questions. You know probably as much as they do, maybe sometimes even less. So, how are you going to manage a difficult situation of the kind where you don't know the answers to many of the questions that they are asking you? At this time, you have to come across the way you are and the person you are, not what you would like to be. And I think that is going to be a very, very challenging situation. All the credibility and cachet that you have developed as a leader now comes to fore. You need to understand not just the work from home conditions, but also the conditions of your colleagues. I know that in my own organization, there are a number of women colleagues who face a dual sledgehammer of managing work and managing families. It's not easy. It is difficult. People have mental health and stress issues. As an organization, you have to reach out. As a leader, you have to reach out. And if you are trying to incidentally create a culture at the time of a pandemic, good luck to you. If you have not invested in culture in good times, you will not reap the kavach that it is in bad times. Culture defines the unspoken language of an organization. I am very proud that I belong to a culture that is an old culture, a 155-year-old company, a 108-year-old culture in India. I'm very proud of it because there are various things that are unsaid, and yet people do it. When a salesman of mine working in Sikkim walks for 3 days continuously to get permission to distribute our products, that is a unspoken reflection of the culture of the company. So dwell on it, talk on it, act on it, and that is important. Address the fears of your people. The first fear that my people had within the first week or within the first 2, 3 weeks was, am I going to have my job? Or am I going to be laid off? So I went and I said up front, as your leader, it is my solemn promise that with the grace of God and with the help of all of you, I want to protect every single job. Because a job is not just a mode of earning a salary, it is our self respect. And I do not and I will not trample on your self respect. I think this is a time of compassion. Your profits, your shareholder returns, the great benefits, and the great plaudits that you would get on the stock markets will only happen if your people are protected, your people are productive, and your people are passionate. It will not happen otherwise. We are all not leading corporations where results happen automatically. Third element, managing the business. And I think this is the time when you have to keep your emotions out of the door. Managing your people is all about emotions and all about clarity. Managing the business is all about facts. This is the time when you have to take the tough calls. Assessment is collective. The decision is yours. But at this time in your business, when you have to take the tough calls, ensure that all your elements of costs are looked at. Postpone it, reduce it, cut it, do whatever you can to enhance efficiencies. Move with speed. This is the golden moment for empowering and enabling your people. I love this moment in my organization because my youngsters will get more authority in their hands. The old bureaucracies will fall apart because you can't afford it. You can't have it anymore. So some youngster will take the decision, run with it, and then he will ensure that things happen in the company. Fourth element, managing the environment. I think it's all hands on deck. It's all hands on deck. You have to set up a close-knit COVID crisis committee. I have a crisis committee that I chair. Every second day we meet. And one of the things what we did was that, every meeting we were starting with the COVID statistics. Till I told the coordinator of that meeting, I said, let us start every meeting with an inspiring story. Somebody who has done something unique during this period. It's a good way to segue into the bitterness and into the bad news that we have later on. And so many inspiring stories this lady has shared with us on organizations, on people, on enterprises, how they have pivoted themselves. I go back to managing yourself. How has a leader pivoted himself because he has decided that I will be positive about it. I will look at this as an opportunity. And I think these are the times in the environment where the key calls are yours as a CEO. You have to be fast. You have to be focused. You have to be flexible if you have to be formidable. If you don't do any of these three, I'm afraid you're not going to have very much of an opportunity. Last, manage the fallout. There will be a fallout. And this is when you speak to your purpose. There is a balance sheet, but you speak to your purpose. There is a profit and loss statement, but you speak to your purpose. There is loans on your balance sheet, liabilities on your balance sheet, and yet you speak to your purpose. This is the time to reach out. This is the time for you to look beyond your own immediate profitability and your own immediate health. This is the time to behave like a banyan tree to protect everyone that is under it. So I believe that these 5 elements, managing yourselves, managing your people, managing your business, managing the environment, and managing the fallout, has really been my learnings of different crises. These are some of the beliefs that have remained close to me. And yes, sometimes I've succeeded, sometimes I've failed, and yet I continue to strive. I continue to strive because I believe in the power of people. I believe in the power of the human being. I believe in the power of every woman and every man in my organization. They are created unique and they are capable.